Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the June 14th, 2018 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair of the County Commission, and joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we could begin with our first item.
First item under proclamations, presentations. Presentation regarding Parks and Recreation's implementation, use, and successes of Cartograph's OMS Operations Management System. Parks and Recreation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Lehman, Parks and Recreation. How are you all doing today?
Great.
Well, thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to do this. There we go. All right. As you know, in 2016, we went live with our Cartograph OMS Operations Management System. So we wanted to come down and kind of give you an update on where we're at with that 2 years later, what we've learned, kind of how it's positioned us locally, nationally, things of that nature. So to kind of catch you up or help you recollect the history of it, in 2015, you all approved a 3-year contract for us to implement and begin utilizing the software. We put that into place, started the project January 6th of 2016, put together the goals, timeline, expectations, what we hope to get out of the software overall. We then had some implementation, getting our needs together, getting the assets collected, things to get us started with it. Did our on-site training with Cartograph staff in April of that year. Then we had some time to go through and do some testing, make sure everything was good before we went live. And then we ended up doing that May 10th and 11th of 2016. We did pretty well, and it was really surprising to see what all we had out there and what all we needed to maintain within that first year. So by the end of that year, we went through and came back to you all to request to add additional asset types, just based on what we have in the park system. You all were kind enough to approve that. We also determined that the initial 5 users we had would not be sufficient for a park system of our size, so we requested to, 10 users, requested to up the number of users we had from 10 to 50 so that we could utilize iPads out in the field and really have our staff drive the data. We went live with the additional assets in April of last year, and you all approved for us to move forward with iPads in June so that we could get the field staff out there directly entering data into the system. We spent most of last summer going out and adding new asset types that we'd gotten, things like light fixtures, park amenities, pavement areas, things of that nature, so that we could try and get total overall cost for the department instead of just limited or specifically identified costs. From there, we've been working on training and getting additional data into the system. Kind of what we have found thus far, I won't read you everything, but as you can see, our current asset list, which is continuing to grow as we do some quality control, is quite impressive. This is all spread out through the 140 parks and parcels that we had prior to and through the consolidation process. Some of it is kind of mind-boggling to look at, particularly if you pull it up on a map, but it's quite a bit of stuff to take care of. The things we have found moving forward with implementation and use of the system is that we are now able to do a more effective staff analysis. It used to be that we were able to track overall labor expenses, but we weren't able to see how it was utilized. So now we can go in and see how many hours we spend on an event, or just basically, say, operating a community center. Instead of just looking at the dollar amount, you can see how that dollar is used. It also provides us a way to work on our scheduling of staff. You know, what are peak times where we need more staff on? Where are we finding that maybe it's slow at one of our concession stands during the day or certain parts, so maybe we can cut back on our staffing there. So we've been able to analyze some of that and make use of that information. We're also able to track our events much better. You know, as we go forward with contracts with a lot of the vendors for events like Winter Wonderland or some of the rowing regattas, things of that nature, we can see how much of our staff time, money, and equipment is used to get ready for those events, to clean up afterwards, so that when we come up with that price to cover our costs, we can make sure it's an actual cost that we're trying to cover and not just a number that sounds like it fits. We're actually doing pretty well now with our request with the public and working on the response time on that. We have the YourGov link posted on our website, and I believe within the last week and a half, we've gotten 3 or 4 different requests come in about issues or concerns in our parks. So it's nice to be able to give the public an opportunity to report anything that they're concerned about any time of the day or night, be it anonymously or if they would like follow-up on it. They have another avenue to communicate with us to try and improve our park system and make sure it's everything it can be. We're able to track assets and tasks much more easily now. It used to be that you just assigned somebody, went out, and they took care of the work, and things got done, but you didn't know exactly how it got done, when it got done, things of that nature. With everything going into the system, having timestamps on it, you can see the amount of time that goes into a project versus routine maintenance, so that you can kind of plan accordingly with your staffing and your timelines as to what should follow, you know, step 1 of the project, phase 2, things of that nature. The big thing that we've gained from this is being able to identify our true costs. You know, we have done very well in the past of tracking our costs, utilizing spreadsheets, things of that nature, but the labor and the equipment side of it has been a new frontier for us to kind of tackle on this one. It used to be we could see if you go to Westlake and you purchase something, you see that, it comes out of your budget, but to be able to track, if we go out to, say, West Lawn Cemetery to mark a grave, what does our mechanics' time maintaining that equipment cost for that trip out there? What does it cost our staff to go out, the 20-minute drive out there, then to market? How is that labor being utilized so that we can show that we're good stewards of the taxpayer dollars? Along with that, it's allowing us to do before and after documentation, projects and other maintenance. I know we've been doing a lot with the Deferred Maintenance Fund, and it's nice to be able to go in and document that, you know, say Junior Pond was in this condition prior to approval of the project. We've been updating, putting the retaining wall in, things like that. So it allows us to tell the public and show them visually how we're making changes to try and better the park system and the quality of life for them. One of the things that some of our staff are very excited about is the way it's been able to allow us to manage West Lawn Cemetery. It used to be, and we still do have filing cabinets full of information on who owns the plots, who's buried in them. You know, if we got a call, you had to go downstairs, pull a death card, pull the file, do all that information. With Cartograph, we've got everything in there, and we're in the process of scanning and attaching it. So if you pull up a cemetery plot in there, you can see who's buried, if it's a double-depth vault, who the owners are, any scanned documents for bill of sale, things of that nature. We also recently got an update that allows us now to print maps from the system. So if a family member calls in and they're in from out of town for Memorial Day, they don't know where their family member is buried, we can now pull that up, highlight the plot within the cemetery, and give them a map for them to be able to go out and visit their family members. One of the things that is helping us for particularly deferred maintenance and setting up replacement schedules is asset inspections. We have the ability on each asset type to create custom criteria that when our staff go out, say, playground inspections. We have CPSI certified playground inspectors. They know by national standards what they have to inspect on every piece of playground equipment that they look at. So we have put those criteria into Cartograph so that if they go out and inspect a piece of playground equipment, they pull up one uniform form, they can go in and do their inspection, they can attach photos of it if there's any damage or any concerns. It also allows them to go in and check where they were at from the field on the previous inspection. So if we're finding that we go out to a certain swing set and the chains have been cut the last 2 or 3 times, we can start to see the trend of, okay, maybe we need to evaluate whether that's the proper piece of equipment here or not, or if something's just failing, manufacturer's not living up to the warranty, things of that nature. We can document and research all in the field via the iPads where we're at with those inspections. We also have heard that in some instances, some of the cartograph users have had instances where lawsuits have been filed based on potholes, things of that nature. Everything in here is time-stamped, so if there's a complaint or something, that we're not maintaining something, we had the ability to pull up and show them we inspected it on this date at this time. Here was the results of it. So legally, hopefully we never get to that point, but I like the fact that that gives us a little extra coverage on any liabilities we may face. Cartograph has been helpful with the vehicle replacement ratings. Kind of like the asset inspections on our vehicles, we can set it that a truck has a life expectancy of this long, a Prius would be slightly different. And as we do our maintenance and utilize the vehicle, Cartograph has a system within it that will actually tell you the rating of the equipment, anticipated replacement date or recommended replacement date, and just overall condition of it. So with fleet being a rather large beast, it's nice to be able to kind of plan ahead and anticipate funding or replacement dates, costs, things like that well in advance. So that's been very helpful. One of the next 2 items are something I personally am quite excited about. The system has given us the ability to make custom and interactive maps. We've worked very closely with Lee Allen to make sure that our base maps within the system are what we need. The ability to now print custom maps is helpful for staff. The ones that don't have direct access to the system, we can print them a map and say, here's where this piece of playground equipment is. Go work on that. Here's the task assigned with it. Document it that way. We're also working to hopefully soon publish some interactive maps. We've done some tests with the cemetery plots and also our memorial benches. Anything we put into Cartograph, Lee and his staff are able to pull over into GIS and create maps based to that. So we would like to at some point put on our website a map that you can type in an inscription on a memorial bench and it will show you where it's at in our park system. Or with the cemetery, instead of having to contact us to get a map of where someone is buried, you'd be able to go online, type in the name, the garden, be able to find that all from the computer without having to interact directly with staff. The final thing I have for you is that it's been a tremendous help working on locations and classifications into quadrants. As we move forward with a lot of our projects, our planning, improvements, necessary assets, things of that nature, it's nice to be able to see where everything is located by quadrant so that we can try and be as equitable as possible. If we do work in one quadrant, are we making sure that we do more over here? Or if someone asks, say, for instance, why it seems like we're doing a lot in Quadrant 2, well, Quadrant 2 has, I believe it's 47 parks in it, all but 2 community centers and a large majority of our assets. So we can show that we're trying to be equitable, but we have so many assets in that quadrant that if we want to maintain properly, we may in some instances have to spend a little more there. So overall, I am quite impressed with the software and the insights it's been allowed to give our department for current and future planning. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
It's very impressive. Really appreciate everything you've got laid out for us. I did note we have 10,000 trees, 5,400 are mapped.
Yes.
So that means 4,600 to go.
Yes. Yeah. The forestry staff appreciate the knowledge, but when I told them that, yeah, you're going to go out with an iPad and map every one, I think they were ready to kill me.
But I think that does come into account, especially where we have the ash borer.
Yes.
When we start talking about where the specific diseases or insects, knowing exactly how many trees, how much of our forest population is this going to affect?
Yes.
And oftentimes when we have employees, we have institutional knowledge. We have employees that have worked for us for 20, 30, or more years. And they just know the parks because they've lived them. But when they retire and leave, there goes the institutional knowledge. If we have something that is able to transfer that institutional knowledge a little bit more cohesively, continuity of operations, our COOP planning, sort of for parks, they're very, very impressive.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Bueller?
Can you go back to the very first one that listed all the assets? There was a question, I just had a question on 138 facilities, and I think that's what it said.
Yes.
So what would that be exactly? Would it be
Facilities are pretty
significant
much...
buildings or?
Well, not even significant, really.
Okay.
You know, if you take, for example, the Gage Park Accessible Diamond Restroom, you know,
Okay.
we consider that a facility. It's something we have to maintain. We also include in that our aquatic facilities, sports complexes. Some of those were a little tricky, kind of trying to figure out how to set up, because we have our sport courts. So if you go to, say, Bettis, we're maintaining expenses on an individual diamond, but it's difficult to break out, say, the electric costs for the lights. How do you say it's this much for this diamond? So we have the complex as a facility so that you have kind of a catch-all for some of the indirect costs that you can't identify.
Sure, okay. Good, it seems to be very helpful, and you are using it, I mean, to
Yes.
the advantage of not just the staff, but the public, too, so,
Commissioner
thank
Archer?
you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It's very impressive. And instead of guessing or estimating, we can manage by fact now.
Yes.
And I think that's a big improvement on how we meet the community's needs and how we spend taxpayer dollars effectively. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think that also when we say that, you know, there are services that are being provided, common complaint, everything lands in X side of town. And it doesn't really matter. I hear, no matter what side of town you live in, there's always the perception that somebody else has something more than you do.
Yes.
Or different than you do. And this really gives us the ability to combat just what we maybe think is happening with actual facts and being able to lay out the facts. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There are 6 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
The vouchers are totaling $874,811.56. The detention facility has $332,655.49 of that amount, and about $262,000 is with Corizon. Second is $150,189.45. That is under special public works with Claver Construction for Northwest Burton Road and Northwest Dundee Lane. Third is $82,800, and that is for the Gage Park Trail with Conroy Contractors, and that is under state grant. So I do not have any questions or concerns, so I'll move approval.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
A2, consider correction orders.
Move for the approval of the correct orders. Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
B, Public Works Solid Waste, none. Consider approval of request solicit bids for pavement milling of asphalt pavements and subsequent sweeping for Southwest 21st Street, Indian Hills Road to Auburn, Southeast 29th Street, Crook Road to Council Road, Southwest Auburn Road, Southwest 61st to Southwest 9th Street, South 45th Street, Crook Road to Council Road, and Southwest 33rd Street, Urish Road to Indian Hills Road, at an estimated cost of $160,000, with funding from the Public Works Road Maintenance Account.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is our annual list of roads that we would like to mill and overlay this year. We don't have the equipment to do the milling, So we'd like to contract that out, but then once the milling is completed, then we would come in with our own forces and do the overlay of the asphalt. This process has worked well in the past several years, so we'd like to continue it. And if there's any questions regarding it, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions regarding this item? Commissioner Archer?
And you anticipate all of these projects being completed this year?
Yes, that's our intent.
Good
I'll move to approve, yeah. It's very impressive.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B2, consider approval to purchase an extended warranty for one additional rear load truck as part of the bid originally awarded on October 9th, 2017, at a cost of $1,800 from the Solid Waste Fund.
Commissioners, Tom Block again with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a solid waste item, and I'm here to tell you I messed up here a few months ago. As you may recall, we had went out for bid for 7 solid waste trucks to help replenish some of our fleet, and we got very good bids. So at that time, I had requested that we add an 8th truck to it, which was approved. However, I overlooked the fact that we had extended warranties on all the other 7 trucks and forgot to add in the cost of and make the request for the cost of the extended warranty at that time. So that is what I'm here to asking for today, is to allow us to get an extended warranty for this 8th truck at a cost of $1,860, and the funding would come from the Solid Waste Fund, which is non-tax funded and our user fees funded. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions about adding the extended warranty for this vehicle?
I'll move approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B3, consider approval to purchase and install workstations from Design Business Interiors, DBI, of Topeka, Kansas, for offices being relocated to the second floor of the North Annex at a cost of $57,000 with funding from the Solid Waste Collections operational budget.
Commissioners, Tom Block again, Public Works and Solid Waste. As mentioned, this is a solid waste item, and as part of the space utilization, one of the things we're planning on doing is currently at the North Annex, the solid waste offices are all on the first floor, and Public Works offices are all on the second floor. There is a space that the Information Technology Department used to use on the second floor that is open, and we would like to and intend to move the solid waste offices up to the second floor. That would make it, from a management standpoint, more efficient with both departments being on the same floor. It will be new space. We have new carpeting in it from that's been installed previously, and there are a few improvements that we will be forthcoming here in the future. But this is to for making the move. I'd like to make the office space, workspace, as efficient as possible. We contacted DI, who has a state contract for these types of equipment and furniture and workstations, and have worked with them to lay out an efficient workspace. And so it is my request that we be allowed to contract with DBI to provide these workstations, so that when we do make the move, we'll be coming into a very nice workspace for our solid waste department. As mentioned, funding it should not exceed $57,000. I think we'll come in a little bit less than that. But the funding would come from solid waste, which again is non-tax fund, so it's all user fee based. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions regarding this?
I'll move to approve the purchase.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. I might note, just as we start to relocate some of the individuals at the North Annex, kind of moving around, that's part of our facility review that we had with Falk Architects, and trying to maximize our space and looking at some of our space in all of our buildings, North Annex, the courthouse, trying to free up some space for additional needs. So, our next item.
B4, consider authorization and execution of contract C-195-2018 with Union Pacific Railroad Company for renewal of a lease agreement at the intersection of Northwest Hoke Road and East Railroad Avenue near Silver Lake. allowing Shawnee County the right to enter into UPRRC right-of-way for the purpose of operating and maintaining a public roadway for vehicular public use at a cost of $300 annually, automatically renewed and increased 3% annually, funded by the Public Works operational budget.
Commissioners, Tom Luck, again, Public Works and Solid Waste. This is the Public Works item, and this was rather news to me when this was brought to our attention, but there's been an easement at the corner of Railroad Avenue and Hoke Road in the very extreme northeast corner of Silver Lake. There's been an easement that the county has had with the Union Pacific Railroad for at least 50 years, and what this easement allows us to do, those two roads are typically a 90-degree intersection. Years ago, with the amount of semi-traffic and large truck traffic that I think that comes down for agricultural purposes, I would guess primarily, and uses Railroad Avenue to access Highway 24, the turning radius with a T intersection is not adequate, so we needed to have a sweeping curve to allow the truck movements. And so however long ago, they worked out an agreement with Union Pacific Railroad to utilize some of their easement, which is kind of in conjunction with the roadway easement, or the ditch easement, to be able to construct a sweep there instead of a T intersection. That lease has been in place for two 25-year terms concurrently. That lease has expired, and we'd like to renew it with them. If we do not renew it, we would have to take the sweep out and turn it back into a T intersection, which would make it really difficult for large trucks to turn. And to make that turn, they would be going into the other lane. So we've negotiated with the Union Pacific Railroad and believe that we've come to a fair agreement and worked very closely with the counselor's office on this. And we're at a point where we will make a recommendation that we enter into this lease agreement with the Union Pacific Railroad. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions?
No, I'm familiar with the intersection, and I think it's warranted, yeah.
Okay.
I would move approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item C, facilities maintenance. Number 1, consider approval of emergency purchase and payment of the invoice from McElroy's in the amount of $11,065.29 for replacement of the compressor and condensing unit of the walk-in cooler for the Shawnee County Coroner's Office, utilizing funds from the Coroner Maintenance Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. And I didn't break whatever. This item is at the Shawnee County's Coroner's Office. The coroner and/or the city of Topeka contacted McElroy's for this emergency repair, which ended up an emergency replacement of the condensing unit and compressor for the walk-in cooler over there. We just received the invoice on it last week and are asking for approval to go ahead and approve this emergency expenditure. Answer any questions you might have on it.
Any questions regarding this item?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item C2, consider approval to award the bid for carpet replacement at the Maynard Conference to the Furniture Mall of Kansas, and authorization and execution of contract C-196-2018 for same in an amount of $204,566.12, and painting from T.D. Wilson Painting, a trade services contract vendor, and an estimated amount of $45,433.88, with funding from the Maynard Conference Center Deferred Maintenance Fund.
Bill Kroll, Facilities Maintenance Director. This item is primarily looking to get a project budget established and start a carpet contract for the renovations at the Maynard Conference Center. These will tie in with the Expo Center renovations, and the hotel has expressed concern about the dated appearance of Maynard Conference Center. The carpet is worn, the walls are looking pretty shoddy and needs a paint job. T.D. Wilson would strip the wallpaper and begin the painting process, and Furniture Mall of Kansas would strip out the old carpet and start laying carpet tile, which, as that wears out, we can start placing new pieces in instead of just having wear patterns and having to go to a major expense every time we need carpet. Furniture Mall was the second highest bid. Regions Flooring was the highest, or the lowest bid, but there were some discrepancies with their bid. They ended up being short on the amount of carpet that they actually ordered when I checked with the Mohawk rep, and they also had some issues with when they could actually start on the project. So we elected to go with Furniture Mall of Kansas, who we've been using for a couple of years now, and they've been doing good work for us. Answer any questions you might have.
This is one item that is overdue. It's an item we hear from all of our trade shows, conventions, people that use the Manor Conference Center, is that the walls and the floors are really in need of some refresh. And so I'm glad to see that we're able to address this now.
Okay.
The cost is within the overall budget of the $250,000. And this is separate from the Expo Center renovations. This is not part of the $45 million Expo Center renovations.
That's correct. It's more for the hotel who leases the Manor Conference Center from us, but they have their conventions and things that do tie in a lot with the Expo Center. So once everything is all done, everything over there will look nice, new, and refreshed. So that's what we're looking to do.
Commissioner Archer?
Well, I was just going to ask where the money is coming from to go to this deferred maintenance account.
Betty should be able to answer that.
That's what I
more clearly
figured.
than I can.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. If you'll remember, back in 2017, we received some defeasance money in approximately $600,000. We did earmark that money, half of it for Parks and Rec deferred maintenance and part for Manor deferred maintenance.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Betty.
Any other questions?
Just a couple.
Commissioner Bueller?
Is the hotel participating then in any of these costs?
We are still in negotiations with them on that. Jim, actually, I believe, is working on a new lease contract with them. There's so many addendums to the original contract from the 1980s that we decided it was probably time to just clean the whole thing up. And
Okay.
we're looking to have the hotel participate as much as they can. And they've been putting a lot of money into their facility over there as well.
They have. So we received how many? Just 2 bids?
We actually received 3 bids on the carpet.
Okay.
The third one was significantly higher.
Okay. And this is replacing all of the carpet?
It gets
in
all the
rooms
carpet in
and
all the conference
hallway?
rooms, the corridor, even the ramp area going down to the expo. So,
And so are bathrooms on the list at some point?
no, they're
As far
not.
as any attention given to
Well, we'll
those?
give them a paint job, but the floors in there are ceramic, so we should be in pretty good shape with those. But we can clean it up.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Thank you.
Commissioner Bueller, anything else?
No, nothing
Good.
else.
All right. Any other questions? It's a good start. Let's keep at our renovations and cleanup.
It's like
So-
any project, he just keeps building and building
Yeah.
and building. So, yeah, I'll move approval of the contract.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bueller.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D, Health Department, number 1, consider approval of request to create and fill a health protection manager position at a salary, including benefits, of $68,652, and fill any position that may become vacant as a result of filling this one.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oakes from the Health Department. With the recent retirement of the Health Protection Division Manager, it gave us an opportunity to look at our structure. Our structure works, we have the director, and then we have division managers, and they oversee team leaders who oversee the direct service people. And so at the time, we had 5 division managers. That seemed like a lot. We had not looked at that structure since we split from the Community Health Center and they became Grace Med. So we took some time to look at this and felt like we could manage this with a manager instead of a division manager. So someone that is not at the division manager level and not paid at that level, but yet has the knowledge. I'll be honest with you, I've never worked in environmental health or child care licensing. It's about the only program I haven't worked in the health department in my career. So I really felt the need to have some expertise in that area as far as now, and then it gives the division manager who's going to oversee those programs time to get the knowledge she will need to lead that program into the future. So it's part of our COOP planning as well, and our succession planning. So The salary and benefits are $68,652, and we do have it budgeted in our budget this year, and it's paid with program revenue in our tax allocation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about this position.
Any questions regarding this item for Linda? Commissioner Archer?
Just a compliment that you're taking a hard look at organizational structure and ways to be more effective and efficient. And thank you for doing that, and I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item D2, consider approval of a request to create and fill an administrative assistant position at a salary including benefits of $44,841, and fill any position that may become vacant as a result of filling this one.
Linda Oaks from the Health Department again. This is another position we looked at along with the savings from the position I just mentioned and a position we eliminated last fall, an account clerk 2 position. The two departments this person would be serving would be finance and the community health and outreach planning. They have no clerical support at this point, and we are so grant heavy. I always say that we're very grant heavy, and we have a lot of reporting to do. So I want to get the right level of people working on those tasks. And so we feel like this person can fulfill those responsibilities. I hope to be coming back to you with lots of different ideas for that community health outreach planning area. The epidemiologist is there, and of course our other outreach programs. That's just going to grow. And so this person will help with that, as well as our finance department. Edith Matthews is the division manager over that area, and she's also becoming our new accreditation coordinator. So she's going to be busy, too. And there's a lot of paperwork. You're going to hear about accreditation in a couple weeks. Lots of paperwork with that. So this position will help us deal with all of that we have to do. And again, the salary is $44,841. And it is included in our 2018 budget, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-197-2018 between the Shawnee County Health Department and TARC to provide professional training, education, and consultation to TARC staff and clients for developmentally delayed infants and toddlers in an amount of $11,315 paid by TARC.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher with the Health Department. Before you today is a request to enter into a contract with TARC. This contract allows one of our nursing staff members to provide this service to TARC for their developmentally delayed infants and toddlers. This is a service that we provided for many years in our community, and last year we started doing an annual contract with them for it. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Have none. I'll move approval of the contract.
Motion to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Our next item.
Item E, County Councilor, number 1, consider approval to award bid for replacement of the boiler at Landon Arena related to the Kansas Expo Center renovation project to McElroy's, Inc., and authorization and execution of contract C-198-2018 for same at a cost of $454,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Kraus, Shawnee County Councilor. As you know, we have accelerated part of the renovations that deal with these types of critical systems, and the boiler is one of these systems. Basically, the boiler has completely failed. So if we're going to have heat in the Expo Center over the winter, then we need to move forward with this project. We've bid it out. This project has happily come in underneath the architect's estimates on it, and this is the contract for installation of the new boilers. We're replacing one older large boiler with 4 smaller boilers that can be phased and will work much more efficiently for the facility. I'll be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
If we could go back to the under-budget part, I know that our local media ran with a story that said $5 million over budget, but that was an estimate. And this is an example of how an estimate can sometimes be higher or sometimes be lower, or...
Correct. It was reported that we have a budget. We don't have a construction budget set on this project yet. What we do have, and what we have been reporting each time we come forward on our third Thursdays or whenever we discuss this project in general. We've been reporting the best information we have, and the best information we have are those architects' estimates. And we want those to be high. We don't want to plan a project with estimates that are too rosy and then find out we don't have enough money. So for us, fortunately, so far on the two projects that we've bid out so far with this renovation, they both come in under those estimates, which is what we want. We hope that will continue. But no, we're not over budget. We haven't set a final budget yet. We haven't bid the overall project yet. We've got a long ways to go, but we're getting there.
I thank you for clarifying that. And I think that's, we don't need heat in the Expo Center right now, but come October, when the heat turns off, we will probably need the heat in the Expo Center.
Right.
Any other questions regarding the boiler? I'll move for approval of awarding the bid to McElroy's.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Our next item.
Item F, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to purchase 16 additional iPads and add a wireless data account to existing government contract pricing arrangement, State of Kansas Contract 12344AD, with Verizon to provide cellular service for the iPads at a cost of $5,759.84 for the equipment, and an annual cost of $6,400 for monthly cellular service with funding from the operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. As the clerk just read, this is an item for us to purchase 16 additional iPads and the cellular service to go along with those iPads. But also, this is the key in efficiently implementing the program that you just saw earlier this morning, put on by Josh Lehman from our department. My main role in this was to schedule this on the same day in front of you, so if you have any detailed questions about the technology, I'm not the one answering them, Josh will be. One of us will be happy to answer any of the questions you may have.
But just noting that this is the 16 iPads that brings us up to the 50 users that Josh talked about during the cartograph presentation.
That is exactly it, yes.
Okay.
And they
these
put
are-
this in, they use those, as he said earlier, they put these in right there in the field, right when they finish a project, they add it right then, and boom, it's in our system, we know right where we're at and what it cost us, and blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Questions?
And blah, blah, blah.
Here I go again, I know I'm being real technical, aren't I?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bueller,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Our next item.
Item G, Administrative Services. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2018-29, updating the county's change drawer fund resolution.
Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. I'm just asking your approval to update our resolution for change drawers, just as needs have changed. We update this anytime a need, changes in this. So the updates that I'm asking for today is to change the change drawer funds are no longer needed at the Lake Shawnee Swim Beach concessions and admissions, so we would be deleting those. Also, the change drawer funds are no longer needed at Felker Park concessions, so that would be eliminating that. Then we would be increasing the change drawers at the Lake Shawnee Marina and the concessions from $100 to $300, and then increasing the change drawers at Bettis concession stands, 1 and 2, from $400 to $500. I'll also mention that our internal auditor conducts surprise cash audits on all of these change drawers that, not only these, but all of them that are listed on the resolution.
Any questions regarding these?
I'll move to adopt the resolution.
Second?
Motion to adopt by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item G2, update on expenses and revenues.
Okay, I'm here with our report for May 31st of 2018. I will start out on the revenue side, but I will start out by saying the month of May, we were right on budget on both the revenue side and on the expenditure side. So most of the year-to-date budget variances will be very similar to April, but we will go through these individually. So through May 31st of 2018, we had received total revenue of $53,048,988. That is $584,413 over what we had budgeted for that time period. During the month of May, we were $74,000 over budget, so right on budget overall. This chart just shows the different categories and how much was received in each category. We will go through each category individually. The first category is property tax revenue. We have received $44,770,084. That is $652,000 over budget, and that is the same as last month because we did not receive a distribution in May. The next category is other taxes. We've received $4,113,281. That is $32,000 over our year-to-date budget, so they're again right on budget. Property-related fees, we've received $691,962. That is $39,000 over, so right on budget. Charges for services, we've received $1,471,393. That is actually $265,000 under budget, and that is all in the category of Parks and Recreation. And our last category is other revenue. We've received $2,002,268, and that is $125,000 over budget, and that is in our investment income because as interest rates go up, we are receiving more interest and have gone up a little faster than I had estimated. This is our pie chart just showing the different categories and the percentages that we've received in those categories. Of course, the largest is property taxes at 84%. Other taxes are 8%. Property-related fees, 1%, charges for services, 3%, and other revenue of 4%. Do you have any questions on the revenue we've received?
Just, again, as a cautionary, going back to when we say property taxes make up 84%, that is as of this time.
Yes.
It's not the annualized percent of property taxes.
Yes, through May. Yes.
And so that number will decrease as other fees, or we would estimate that property taxes would decrease as the percentage.
Probably not significantly.
Okay.
We will receive the second half distribution in June. So in June, we will see another big distribution or another large revenue item from property taxes. So I don't know that that percentage will change significantly over the year, but this is actually as of May 31st.
Okay, just clarifying that.
Okay, on to expenditures. Through May 31st, we have had expenditures of $38,598,337. That is $383,000 under budget. For the month of May, we were $15,000 over budget. So for the month of May, we were just right on target. So these numbers, again, have not changed a lot since last month. This chart, again, shows the different categories and just the breakdown of the expenditures by category. The first category is law enforcement, and the expenditures through May 31st are $17,617,052. That is $185,000 under budget, and that is primarily the sheriff's office. Next category is public health. we have spent $4,223,060, and that, of course, is right on budget because those are all allocations that are determined. Next category is administrative services. We spent $5,865,459. That is $177,000 under budget, and it's really spread throughout a lot of different departments, so there's not one department that is really making up the majority of that. Next category is Public Works, and we spent $3,855,612. That's right on budget there. And I'll just mention, too, that this is the Public Works amount that has been spent out of the general fund. This does not include sales tax money, federal program money, state programs, those kind of things. Parks, Recreation, and Expo, we spent $6,331,850. That is $13,000 over budget, so right on budget on that category too. And debt service, we've spent $905,305, which again is right on budget. So if we look, this chart just shows the different categories, and what I really think it shows the current expenses, the budget, and the prior years, but what I really think it does a good job of showing is the different categories, and that law enforcement is by far the largest category, and debt service is the smallest. This is our pie chart on the expenditures and how those have been spent and the percentages. The largest is law enforcement at 46%, public health is 11%, administrative services 15%, public works is, I believe that's a 10%, Parks, Recreation, and Expo 16%, and debt service of 2%. So I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you have.
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any member of the public or department head to address the commission on any item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectre Venue Management, Kansas Expo Center. Wanted to update everyone on another successful event that we had yesterday evening with the Garden Brothers Circus. Like many of the events that have taken place, the reoccurring events over the past 8 months, we were able to achieve substantial revenue growth on this event as well. Gross ticket revenues for the event increased over 35% for last night versus last year. So another big win for the team, and a true testament to the marketing effort that our team is putting forth to increase the attendance at those events. This morning, here in about 10 minutes, we will be sending off a lot of our armed service members on their Army departure celebration, which starts at 10 a.m. inside Landon Arena. And then next week, coming up, is the All-Star Preps Best of Kansas Sports Awards Banquet, which will feature former KU basketball star and professional basketball player Paul Pierce. That will be on June 19th at 6 p.m. Tickets are still available to the public for that. They are $50. You can find information on that to our website or through the Capital Journal's website as well. And lastly, over the last couple weeks, we've been able to secure 4 very prominent bookings within the Expo Center, and a very exciting announcement will be coming out on one of those in the last week of this month. So the week of June 26th. We'll be kind of teasing some of that out on our social media pages, and you'll see some press on it as well. So keep your eyes out. It's something we're very excited for, and hope the community is as well.
Very good. Who knows, Commissioner Archer, it might be Darius Rucker.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joan Wagnon, and I live at 4036 Northeast Kimball Road. And I'm joined this morning by Judy Moeller, who is the president of the League of Women Voters, and she's passing you a packet of information. Also with me is Kathleen Marker, who's the CEO of the YWCA, and Orion and Carol Jordan. Judy and Kathleen will speak. We have a YWCA advocacy committee that meets year-round. We have about 20 people that work with us, and one of our long-standing projects has been integrated voter engagement. It's a nonpartisan activity designed to promote voting and voter registration. And last year, we had a big grant from the Kansas Health Foundation, and we worked in Census Tract 40, which is that area around the YWCA. This year, we're going to do that without the grant, just as a group of volunteers. But part of the strategy that we think is important to turn people out to vote, and again, it's a nonpartisan activity, is that there needs to be an opportunity for weekend voting. And so to that end, we've been gathering information and gathering support. The letters that are before you come from 20-some-odd different organizations in support of this idea. We've looked at other jurisdictions. For example, our neighboring county of Douglas County has a weekend voting project, which they've had for a while, and they regard it as highly successful. When we leave here this morning, we're planning to take this set of letters to the election commissioner and formally request that he institute weekend voting for not the primary, but the general election at some place in central Topeka that is centrally located for everyone. I've had a preliminary conversation with some of the people at the Topeka Public Library, and they are very interested. That's the most neutral place we can think of that's open many hours. And there's a lot of advantages to weekend voting, and I'm going to let the rest of my colleagues explain that to you, and then all of us will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Judy Moeller?
I am Judy Moeller. I'm representing the Topeka Shawnee County League of Women Voters, and it's always my luck to follow Joan. We are in support of this to increase voting. That is what we are about at the League of Women Voters, citizen participation and democracy. You notice we always have an observer here at your meetings, and we support this and hope you will too.
Thank you. I am Kathleen Marker, the CEO at the YWCA. We really believe that establishing weekend voting removes barriers to the ballot box and encourages greater participation in our elections. It would allow parents to take their children to the polls and instill in them the habit of civic engagement. Too often, voters are faced to choose between going to work, caring for their children or their loved ones, and voting. And we want to remove that barrier. No one in a democracy should have to make that decision. YWCA Northeast Kansas believes that making voting easier so that all citizens can exercise their right to vote and participate in our democracy. Thank you.
You can answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Joan or Judy or Kathleen?
I have a question.
Mueller.
Joan, would this be then for advance voting so that before the general
Right.
election date?
That's the statute that we would access, would be
Okay.
the advance voting,
That's what I
and
thought.
there is no limitation on the county's ability or the election commissioner to offer this. And so it would, they already offer extended hours.
Right,
And
right.
this would just say, why not put it on the weekend?
Right.
Because there are a lot of folks that work on the weekends and need a different option.
And at a central location?
At a central location and just for the November election.
Okay. All right. Very good.
All right. It's an impressive gathering of letters from
definitely.
community, across our community, and I take this to Mr. Howell and see where our elections commissioner goes with it.
Thank you. We appreciate that very much. We're
Thank
going to do the same in just a few minutes and take it to him.
Be anxious to hear the results, to see how that turns out. Good.
Morning, Commissioners. Barry Beagle with the Shawnee County Planning Department.
I wanted to give you a quick update with regard to the work of the Shawnee County Planning Commission concerning the Shawnee County Comprehensive Plan as it was returned to them back in October of 2017. The Shawnee County Planning Commission has been working hard and diligently for the past 7 months to go back through the comprehensive plan and address the numerous questions and suggestions and requested modifications of the county commission, as well as to take a painstaking review of the entire comprehensive plan document. Not only did they re-review each chapter, but they did so page by page by page. And so it was quite a cumbersome task for them to take that on. They have completed their review at this point of the comprehensive plan, and we have advertised for public hearing on Wednesday next week, June 20th at 6 p.m. at the Shawnee County Annex, 1515 Northwest Saline Street. We have issued a press release in hope that most media outlets will pick that up. As part of that, we have also released a website address where the public can go and learn more about this reconsideration of the Planning Commission and their effort, as well as the documentation associated with that effort. And as part of that, what I'd like to do is just quickly share that with you, if I may, what the public can access. If this will. Okay. All right. So by navigating to the Shawnee County Planning Department. Well, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. Come on. Okay. Well, let's try it this way. I'm having a difficult time. There we go. There we go. By going to the Shawnee County Planning Department, they will see in the top right-hand column, or excuse me, left-hand column, an item that reads New Comprehensive Planning Project. And by clicking on that, they will take them to a special section that was recently set up where they can get information about the efforts of the Shawnee County, where they can get more information about the efforts of the Planning Commission in their reconsideration of the comprehensive plan. Here they can access the resolution as adopted by the County Commission initially when the comprehensive plan was submitted to you, learn of the vote and recommendation, or the vote of the County Commission to reject the plan as it was originally submitted, as well as the 8 pages of questions, suggestions, and requested modifications, so the public can learn about that information. Also, what we have provided through this website, if I can get this to go down, maybe. Yeah, apparently I can't. They can get access to the chapters as they have been revised by the Planning Commission. So if I just pick one, they will notice that if there is any editorial change that has been made to the draft of the comprehensive plan, it will either be struck out, meaning that it is language proposed to be deleted, or it's underlined, indicating this is new language to be added. And we've also highlighted it in yellow, as you can somewhat see on this picture. Maybe I can show you another example of that. Okay. Something with a little bit more substantive changes. So that's what the public can expect to see when they go through chapter by chapter each of these reviews, and they can see specifically what has been, at this point in time, changed by the Planning Commission and going to public hearing on June 20th. Now, in addition to accessing the proposed draft revisions to the comprehensive plan, we've also made available issue papers. Issue papers are documents that were produced specifically in response to the 8 pages of questions that were asked by the County Commission. And so through this, they can see, they can get a little piece of information that indicates what this document is for. It's in response to the Exhibit A that was attached to the original resolution adopted on October 12, 2017. The 8 pages of questions that were adopted as part of the resolution have been organized into question sets, which made it easier to associate the response to those questions to that actual set of questions, or as within the document. So by continuing on, you would indicate or see the number of the question set associated with that grouping of questions. And as they continue on through the document, and I will indicate that we tried to, let me carry on here. We tried to address every single question that was raised by the County Commission. There may have been 1 or 2 items just in the passage of time that we were not able to actually get to, but the majority of everything that was requested by the County Commission has been addressed by the Planning Commission. And so by going to the document, they can pull up by chapter, because that's how the questions were arranged, and it would indicate what the question set number is and go back to the original exhibit to see what that question set was referencing. But also it indicates specifically what that question was and then what the response is to that particular question. So this is intended to benefit not only you, the County Commission, as you receive this recommendation back to you, but also the public can see the work of the Planning Commission in trying to respond to each of these different questions. So I just wanted to share that because this is information, again, that can be downloaded and accessible by the public. We want to make sure that the public is aware that this information is out there, and hopefully that the majority of the people who have an interest in this will be able to attend the public hearing next Wednesday.
All right.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Any other member of the public who wants to have public comment or communication with the commission? This is your opportunity. If you have anything to say, or department head that has information to provide. Okay. Commissioner Archer, anything today?
No, when we went through our budget results, we sort of take those for granted sometimes and say, ho-hum, we're on budget again. But that is critical. And it's, as we get into the process this year of budgeting for 2019, I think it's important that we look at the projections and where we're going to be and how important it is as far as our taxpayers go. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Mueller.
I don't know if I have anything yet. We have a JADO meeting on Monday, and then the public hearing for the comp plan on Wednesday, so it'll be a busy week. And I'm sure there's other things in there, so I don't
Absolutely.
have anything else on.
This afternoon is an important function at the Hillcrest Community Center. We will have an unveiling of the WIC partnership with the Community Health Center, also to talk about some of the improvements to Hillcrest and what's going on at Hillcrest, all the different partnerships we have. This weekend is a busy weekend at Hillcrest. I think there's a lot going on in our community. It was the celebrations. I would encourage everybody to come out to Hillcrest if you have an opportunity. There's a lot going on in our community as always. Also, as you mentioned, the JADO meeting is on Monday, and I look forward to being able to address the new market tax credits with the East Topeka Learning Center as we move forward with that, as well as some of projects of economic development projects and a discussion of broadband in Shawnee County. And as you said, Commissioner Archer, we have been exceptionally blessed as commissioners that we have department heads that are able to do, if you look at the number of public works projects that we're tackling in 1 year, and we know that those are going to be done competently and professionally and under budget, and it gives you a lot of perspective as to how well things do operate within the county. So, Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
I don't think there's a need for an executive session today, so we are adjourned.